how do we overcome the fear of speaking in German? Einen schönen guten Morgen! Hello everybody, welcome back to German with Henry. In this video today, I would like to address how do we overcome the fear of speaking in German. Let's check it out. Before we actually start the video, I would like to share with you what does it mean by fear. Why do we have fear in speaking in German? So fear, this word, it can occur when this four situation arises: uncertainty, change, attention, or struggle. When this four situation arises, it created this fear within you and that discouraged you from speaking in German. In this video, I would like to share with you 5 tips that I find really useful and personally I use to help me gain the confidence in speaking in German. So here's number 5. Read out loud. I often find myself walking in the street, I see a lot of different advertisements like being displayed, talking about different products or services or certain concerts. I will often read them and read them out loud so I can hear my own intonation, my own pronunciation, whether that's right. So sometimes when you do that, you can find a little difference there. Maybe I had pronounced it incorrectly and you try it again. So I often walk on the street, look at advertisements, repeat that over and over again until I get it. I will also read the headlines that has a push button there on my mobile. So every morning I will read that out. Whenever there's a headline pushed through, I will read that out immediately. There's only like 2 or 3 lines usually. It's not that long. Some of the magazine or the newspaper articles that I actually follow are Der Spiegel, die Deutsche Welle, der Berliner Zeitung, die Zeit, or Tagesschau. These files usually stored in my handy, and whenever there's a news coming through, I will just make sure that I scan them through quickly and also make sure I read the headlines out so I can hear it myself. Reading that out helped me to understand and also listen to what I'm saying. At the same time, also inform me what's happening, especially in Germany, in the EU, or simply around the world. That helped me to understand and learn the specific vocabulary that's being used in that context. So when I discuss certain news or current affairs with my friends, I can easily use and apply those new vocabularies in German with them. Point number 4, talk to yourself. So I often talk to myself. For instance, when I'm walking on the streets or when I'm doing my dishes, doing my laundry, I'll often create a scenario. For instance, in the Finanzamt or classroom scenario or in my CrossFit situations, I will often create those little skits in my head and start to talk to the people. For instance, it could be a CrossFit situation like how do I do the chin out, how do I do the rolling. So I often create that kind of question in my head and try to ask my counterpart, how do you say this? How do you use that vocabularies? So it's like a Henry A talking to Henry B replying to Henry A. So I often create like little scenarios in my head and then make sure I have that conversation with myself, pretending that someone else. This definitely helps you to gain your confidence because when that situation arises, you know exactly what you should follow through. You can create a scenario of like talking to your clients, talking to your colleagues. Obviously, you have to use the C form, or you create a scenario talking to your students or talking to your friends, or use the do form. So you have a different way of expressing yourself and bring the topics to your audience. Point number 3, shadowing. This shadowing is actually very powerful. So how do I usually use it is, I will listen to the podcast or watching the news in German. So I often listen very carefully what they're saying. I mimic what they're saying. So for once, I train myself in terms of pronouncing the words in the way that they pronounce it. I will pay attention to their facial expression to see when they pronounce that word, which part of muscle group do they use on their face. I will look closely to their mouth. Because certain sounds, with regardless of where you're from, you just not necessarily have that in your own mother tongue. So it's really essential and important to look at how people move their mouth and then reproduce that sound. So these are 3 things I will always follow. When there's a visual that help me to learn more because I see the whole thing. When it's audio, I will keep repeating and mimic and pronounce over and over again until I get that right tone, right intonation, and melody that I need to achieve. 2, I will listen to myself. For instance, I will put out my handy or my mobile and I will record myself in certain sentences in German. I will send it as a reply to my friends so they can listen to what I'm saying. There are some friends of you who are willing to correct your German. Let them do that. Tell them that you would like to be corrected so you can always listen to it properly. This is very important, especially when you're talking about certain German idiom or the grammatical point. For instance, the der, die, das, what happened when you're using with Akkusativ, Dativ, Genitive or Nominative. And those small details is very important to listen to them carefully. And also, especially when you're recording yourself, sometimes you just forget to do it so your friends can pick it up and reply to you. Or I will send a WhatsApp message to my German teacher who is willing to correct my sentence structure there and reply it back to me. So those are the two things that I will record myself and send it over to my friends or my German teacher so they can correct me and I can look at it carefully and learn from my own mistake. Number 1, learn from your mistakes. So when you listen to yourself and repeat after yourself and starting the mimicking of the presenter or the interviewee, you often know exactly where your mistakes are. So look at yourself closely on those mistakes. Remember that, especially in that context. I will often remember at that exact moment what happened. When the person corrected me, I will remember that scenario. This is very helpful for German prefixes because they are very detailed, very precise, and some of them can only be used in specific situations. So in that specific situation, I'll remember that next time this is the situation that I need to use and not mix up with something else. So that's how I learn and gain the confidence in speaking in German. Don't be upset about it if you often make mistakes in your speech in German, because to learn a new language, you have to make a lot of mistakes and you learn from your mistakes so it can improve on. The German has a beautiful saying, Übung macht den Meister. Übung macht den Meister. Übung means exercise, der Meister is the master, and Macht is from machen, like to do, to make. So in English translation, it means practice makes perfect. So learning German, you need to make a lot of mistakes and then you'll be a pro someday. It's a lifelong journey. So keep learning German. I hope you have learned something new and I hope you enjoyed these 5 tips. Perhaps write down in the comments below how you gain your confidence in speaking German. I can learn something from you guys as well. Thank you very much for watching and don't forget to subscribe for more doses of German with Henry. For more German learning, why not check out this video over here? You will find 5 interesting words in English that shares its origin in German. Or check out this video over here to learn 2 German words that will instantly make you sound more like a native German speaker. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the very next video. Ciao ciao. Tschüss.